Potential energy and kinetic energy. Scientists have observed that all energy is either stored, as potential energy, or in motion, as kinetic energy. Potential energy is often associated with energy of position. For example, a stone on Earth's surface is said to be storing energy. If you raise the stone with respect to Earth's surface, you are increasing its potential energy. If you drop the stone, the potential energy becomes energy of motion, or kinetic energy. Mechanical energy is the sum of a system's potential energy and kinetic energy. The graph shows how energy changes when a toy car rolls from the top of a steep ramp to the bottom. The potential energy and kinetic energy of the toy are shown at various points along the ramp. Potential energy is greatest at point 0. Energy and wind turbines. The total amount of energy in a system is the sum of the system's potential energy and kinetic energy. Consider a machine such as a wind turbine. A traditional windmill uses the kinetic energy of the wind to do work, such as pumping water or grinding grain. A wind turbine takes the process one step further, converting kinetic energy into electrical energy, as shown in the diagram. How batteries work. Potential energy is stored as chemical energy in a non-rechargeable battery. Chemical reactions inside the battery cause electrons to collect on the zinc shell. That potential energy changes to electrical energy once a circuit is completed between the carbon rod and zinc shell. The resulting electrical energy can be changed into other forms of energy, as shown in the diagram. As the chemical paste in the battery reacts with the metals in the battery, the metals eventually decompose and the battery dies. Law of conservation of energy. The law of conservation of energy states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change form. Energy changes from potential to kinetic energy and vice versa. Potential energy is stored energy. A ball that is sitting on the edge of a desk has potential energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. As the ball falls off the desk, its potential energy changes to kinetic energy. The total amount of energy is always equal to the sum of the potential energy and the kinetic energy. The graph below shows how energy, measured in joules, changes in a model rocket as it is launched. Toy car investigation. A group of students tests the law of conservation of energy by measuring the potential energy and kinetic energy of a toy car rolling down a ramp. The graph shows the results of their investigation. At the top of the ramp, the car has only potential energy. The potential energy changes to kinetic energy as the car rolls down the ramp. At the bottom of the ramp, all the potential energy should be changed into kinetic energy. However, forces such as friction change some energy into thermal energy. Rechargeable versus non-rechargeable batteries. Batteries contain stored chemical energy. The chemical energy in batteries changes to electrical energy when a battery-powered device is turned on. When rechargeable batteries are recharged, electrical energy is changed back into chemical energy. The voltage of a battery is a measure of its stored energy. Physics of roller coasters. Mechanical energy is the energy a mechanical system or machine has because of its motion or its position. Mechanical energy is the sum of the system's potential and kinetic energy. Any machine with mechanical energy is able to do work. That is, mechanical energy makes it possible for the system to apply a force to and move an object or another system. In most mechanical systems, potential and kinetic energy are continually changing from one into the other. In an ideal machine, this process would go on forever, but in reality it does not because the system loses energy to friction. An example that illustrates mechanical energy is a roller coaster. The observation can be made that a chain mechanism pulls the cars to the top of the first hill, and then the only force working on the cars is gravity. As the roller coaster moves over the track, its energy is constantly changing from potential to kinetic and back again. Chemical bonds. Chemical energy is energy stored in the bonds formed between atoms and molecules. It takes energy to form the bonds, but it also takes energy to break them apart, otherwise, no stable molecules would exist. All chemical reactions need energy to make atoms go from one molecular configuration to another. In some reactions, the products contain more energy than the reactants. This type of reaction is endothermic. The reaction, in effect, absorbs energy from the environment to form the product. Sometimes, however, a chemical reaction results in a product that has less energy than the reactants, indicating that energy was released into the surroundings during the reaction. This type of reaction is exothermic. Combustion is a type of exothermic reaction that produces light and heat. Hot or cold packs used to reduce swelling exemplify endothermic and exothermic reactions. The pouch of the hot or cold pack contains a dry chemical and an inner pouch of water. A reaction is started when the seal on the pouch of water is broken, mixing the water with the chemical. Chemical reactions. Some chemical reactions produce energy, and others absorb it. An exothermic chemical reaction produces heat, or thermal energy. For example, when a match burns, it releases heat. Chemical energy changes to thermal energy. An endothermic chemical reaction absorbs heat, or thermal energy. Often this heat comes from the surroundings. For example, when citric acid and baking soda react, energy is absorbed from the surroundings to drive the reaction. Thermal energy changes to chemical energy. Photosynthesis. Plants make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. This process changes one form of energy light to another form of energy chemical energy. The energy from sunlight is used in the leaves of a plant to combine carbon dioxide and water to produce sugar and oxygen. The plant stores the sugar in its tissues and releases oxygen into the air as a waste product. The reaction can be written as 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water plus light energy yield 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen. When another organism eats the plant, the organism's cells convert chemical energy stored in the plant's sugar to mechanical energy and thermal energy. The conversion of chemical energy to other usable forms of energy in an organism's cells is called respiration. The reaction can be written as C6H12O6 plus 6CO2 rightward arrow 6CO2 plus 6CO2. C6H12O6 plus 6O2 yields 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus mechanical and thermal energy.